Peter Drucker once famously said, strategy eats tactics for lunch. Keeping that statement in mind, do you have a thriving or a surviving culture? Hi, I'm Josh Patrick, and I'm the founder of the Sustainable Business. Today, we're going to talk about just that, what a thriving culture means and how you can build one in your business. I know that you want a company that all your stakeholders are going to love. You don't want to do this just because it feels good, and it does. You want to do this because it's the only way you can separate your company from the other construction companies in the world. When you have a culture that's thriving, you have excited employees, customers that love you, and suppliers who are dying to do business with you. Most importantly, with a thriving culture, your team members will know what you're about and how your company meets their needs as well as the needs of your customers. You might even find that you stop losing your best employees. So, how would that make you feel? But here's the problem. Most construction companies have never spent 1 second thinking about culture or the values their business has. Without this, your people have no idea what you stand for or what they should be doing. After all, there's no way we can tell our team members everything they should have to be doing. They're going to have times where they have to figure it out themselves. And the only way this can happen that makes sense for you is if you have a strong culture that's backed by values in your company. There's a good chance no one has ever told you about culture or why it's important. I believe it's one of the four pillars of business sustainability. The other three are recurring revenue, systems, and making yourself become operationally irrelevant. But today we're talking about the values piece and the culture piece. Even if you do know about culture and values, it doesn't do you any good unless you talk about it on a regular basis. So let me tell you a story about my days in the food service business when I had a real problem with a team member and what we did to help change her attitude. So we had this person, and she was working in our food production facility, which is called a commissary. So in the commissary, I walked in one day and people were working. We made about 14, 15,000 units a week, and there was a whole bunch of production going on. And I saw one of our people making sandwiches, and they were just terrible looking. So I walked up to her and I said, Tanya, what's the story here? Would you eat these things? Because one of our pillars was don't make it if you're not going to eat it. And she kind of looked at me and shrugged. And she was studying my feet as she was doing this. So I got her to say, okay, Tanya, what's up with these sandwiches? And she said, well, you made me do this. I said, what? How did I make you do this? I just walked in here. I wasn't telling you how to make these sandwiches or even to make these sandwiches. So she's still studying my feet, and she looks over and sees a coworker and says, well, that person told me that's how it should be done. So I said, really? She really told you how that's done? And then she went on to the next person who happened to be our commissary manager. Said, well, the commissary manager said we had to do it fast, we had to do it quick, and we didn't have time to waste. And I said, but still, you know what our culture is and what we're supposed to be doing is don't make it if you wouldn't eat it. So Tanya, tell me, what's up with these sandwiches? And then the strangest thing happened. She stopped staring at my feet. She straightened up. She was a bit hunched over. She straightened up and she looked me right in the eye and said, well, I guess I just didn't do a very good job with this, did I? I said, yeah, so what are you going to do about it? She said, well, I think I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I'll fix the problem. I said, great. So Tanya, what did you just do? Did you stop blaming? Yes. Did you stop justifying? Yes. Is there a chance that you're now being personally responsible for the work you're doing? And she got a great big smile on her face and she said, yeah, I am responsible and I'm going to make this be great. And that's what she did. And she went on from there to become one of our best employees, moving on from one of our worst employees. So now you have a good example of how values work as a tool. Here are some simple things I want you to do. First, figure out what values you want to have in your company. Make sure they're no more than 5, and with more than that, no one will remember what you're talking about. And make sure that they're core values and not aspirational values. Aspirational values are fine. You just need to say they're aspirational values. Second, create clarifying statements about what the values are. If you don't have a clarifying statement around the value, you won't have a culture that you want because people will make up what the values mean. For example, one of our values here is simplicity. We make the complicated and we take the complicated and we make it simple. Now, when I talk about that, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean by simplicity. If I don't have that clarifying statement around it, you just don't know. And talk about at least one of your values every single day for at least a year. Your people are not going to get it the first time they heard it. They're not going to get it the second time. They're not even going to get it the 7th or 8th time. It's going to be 10, 12, 15 times before they even start to hear what you're talking about. And remember, these are tools and you need to learn how to use them. So if you do these 3 simple things, you'll stop having an accidental culture that doesn't serve anyone in your company. Instead, you'll have a culture based on values that will let your team members know what they have to do for excellence, and your customers will know what to expect from your company. I would love to have a conversation with you about how you can use values to create a company you'll love. Feel free contacting me at jpatrick@stage2planning.com to set up a time to talk. And in the meantime, if you're not ready to talk, download our free infographic on how to figure out what your values are. It's easy and it'll only take a little bit of your time. And while you're at it, scroll down and let me know what you think about having a culture that serves you and all of your stakeholders. Hey, this is Josh Patrick. You're at The Sustainable Business. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope to see you back here really soon.